Okay, let's unpack this.
Mhm.
We are diving into what is, I think, the most abstract, maybe the most important structural concept in the entire Ghosts universe canon.
The final one, the culmination of everything.
The pull.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's followed this, the authors were trying to map out human experience, not just stories, but the actual architecture of reality.
From the very center of awareness all the way out to the furthest possible edge.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to really get a handle on that final point. We're looking at how this whole framework defines the edge of what we can even describe.
Which they called the pull.
And we need to understand why it's there structurally, and maybe more importantly, why the canon just stops there. It's a huge moment of restraint.
It is. It leaves what's beyond it completely open. It's for you, the listener, to sort of associate with on your own.
This isn't just a theory, it's the final statement. It has, and I think it demands, a certain gravity.
Well, to feel that gravity, you can't just jump to the end. You have to see the architecture it's built on. This isn't a concept that works in isolation.
Right. So let's ground ourselves really quickly in that sequence. It all starts with this core stability, right? The point that doesn't move.
Precisely. It begins with the dot, which is, it's the bedrock of consciousness.
And not a thought, not a memory.
No, none of that. It's the steady presence beneath all of that. The part that just holds awareness. It's the center. I mean, without it, experience would just be chaos.
Okay, so if the dot is the foundation, the stable ground floor, then the four conditions are the walls, the windows, the shape of the house.
That's a great way to put it. The four conditions, memory, presence, light and dark, and love, they're how reality feels. They give it dynamics, time, contrast, connection.
But here's my question. If you have a perfect stable center in the dot, and you have this complete toolkit for experiencing the conditions, why do you need a pull toward an edge? Why not just stay in the center?
And that is the essential tension, right? That's what they had to resolve. The system, even with a perfect anchor and perfect tools, still felt incomplete. It leaned somewhere.
So that's where the pull comes in.
That's where the pull comes in. It's the final synthesis. It's defined as the felt horizon of experience.
The felt horizon. Okay.
It's just a quiet, inherent orientation, a sense that reality is, well, gathering towards something, even when nothing at all is happening.
That still feels incredibly abstract. How does that cosmic orientation show up on, a regular Tuesday? Is it something you feel when you're meditating, or is it in the mundane?
The sources are so insistent on this, it's subtle. The pull doesn't announce itself with trumpets or a big epiphany.
Right.
It's woven into these ordinary, non-dramatic moments. It's a quiet orientation, and this is the critical part. It's closer to gravity than it is to a goal or a plan you set for yourself.
Gravity. That's interesting. I usually think of gravity as something that holds you down, a drag, but here it sounds more like alignment. Why the word gravity or weight?
Because it's about coherence, not about reaching a high point. The weight is the feeling that all the different pieces of your life are being held together in relation to some final shape. It's the feeling of things mattering.
So, give me an example.
Think about standing at a window at dusk, or sitting beside someone you love and you don't even need to speak, or just walking home after a long day.
I know those moments.
Yeah.
It's like the usual chatter in your head just stops, and for a second you feel the rhythm of things.
Exactly. And in those moments, you might feel that time is gathering rather than simply passing.
Gathering? I like that.
It's the sense that some moments have more substance, more density than others, even if from the outside they look exactly the same.
And the canon ties this feeling really closely to the act of care, doesn't it?
It does. The pull is most vivid when you're in a state of sustained care, caring for a child, an aging parent, a craft. That focus brings this really acute awareness that time is irreversible.
It slows you down.
It slows you down, and it makes each moment feel fuller, more concentrated. That feeling of being fully present, that's the right thing to be doing. That's the pull.
And you only notice it when you stop rushing. When the noise dies down, you feel this other shape.
And what's so fascinating is that the pull, and I'm quoting here, does not arrive as a conclusion. It lives as an orientation.
So people mistake it for purpose.
All the time. Purpose asks, what should I do? The pull asks nothing. It's just a felt leaning toward ways of being, honesty, presence, not an outcome. Fulfillment in this system is about proximity, not arrival.
It's about getting closer, not crossing a finish line, which means it must be there even when things are not going well.
Absolutely. It's there in quiet dissatisfaction, not disappointment about specific thing, but that general awareness that life hasn't resolved itself yet, that feeling of almost, that is the feeling.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me,
Mm.
because the pull isn't just a nice reflective feeling.
Yeah.
The canon argues it is structurally required. It has to be there. And this is where we have to talk about the codex.
The codex, right. This is the metastructure, the rules of reality. And its central rule, the key to the whole thing, is finitude.
Finitude, things end.
Things have edges. They take form. They reach a completion. And that boundary is what makes experience understandable in the first place.
If you think about it, without limits, nothing would be distinct. It would all just be a blur.
Exactly. The analogy they use is a cup. A cup holds water because it has edges. A life is shaped, it gathers meaning because it unfolds within limits. It moves toward an end.
So finitude isn't a tragedy in this system.
No, it's the generator of structure. Without limits, there's no orientation. If life were endless, it would just be flat. The fact that it moves toward an end is what creates the feeling that it's also moving toward meaning.
And because reality has limits, it can feel complete. Not finished, but complete enough to be held.
Which brings us back to that central image, the circle drawn almost to its starting point.
That one image just captures everything.
It does. The pull lives in that tension, right, between finitude and fulfillment. The limit creates the shape, and the shape creates the orientation, the pull.
It lets you feel the meaning without demanding you explain what that meaning is for.
Yes. It gives you the weight without demanding the interpretation. And that brings us to the most important word in the entire final text, which is nearly. The pull is the sense of nearing completion. And that choice to stop at nearly is not an accident. It's the ethical boundary of the whole canon. They stop right there.
They refuse to speculate beyond what a human can actually experience.
It's fidelity to experience. It's so sturdy. It says, we will go right up to the horizon you can feel and not one step further.
Because if you describe what's over the horizon...
It stops being a horizon.
Okay, so the pull is usually this quiet background hum. But the sources talk about moments where it becomes unmistakable. When perception widens and the feeling just gathers this incredible intensity. And these aren't random, they're structural reveals. The system hitting its outer limit.
We see that clarity in deep states of stillness. I don't just mean relaxation, but a state where awareness feels vast and the edges of your own identity start to blur. In that space, the pull is no longer a whisper. It's a magnetic hum.
And the opposite is also true, right? It shows up in moments of total collapse.
Yes. When your narratives, your plans, your life structures just fall apart, what's left feels bare, fragmented, and yet somehow coherent.
The structures are gone, but the gravity is still there.
You feel the coherence of the whole, even if your personal part in it feels broken.
And then there's the most intense example they give, the experience of near death.
Right. When the future narrows, the present just explodes with intensity, and your whole life seems to be drawing together. It feels like it's being held in a single curve.
The pull isn't telling you what's next. It's just supreme proximity, nearing the edge of form.
And this connects directly to that other concept, the realm. The realm is the widening of perception itself. The pull isn't separate from that. It's the horizon that the realm reveals.
So the realm is the wide-angle lens.
And a pull is the final image you see through it. This is where you get the ultimate gravity. At the far edge of reality, the pull is the last truth the canon will name.
It's just a quiet tension in the fabric of things.
Yes, it presents as orientation in the formless.
A direction in the directionless.
That's the phrase. It's the final, unspoken nature of things. When all the specific landscapes are gone, it's not an idea you think about. It's a reality felt as weight. The simple, undeniable fact of a horizon when nothing else is left.
It lets life feel coherent while remaining structurally unfinished.
And that's the whole journey, from the steady dot at the center to the codex, which says finitude creates shape, to the realm, the lens that widens perception.
All of it leading to the pole, the final open curve.
And the shape of the universe in this system is complete enough to stand inside. You can feel its coherence, but that circle stays open.
And the openness isn't a flaw, it's part of the design.
It is the design. The pull allows fulfillment to be sensed as nearness, never as arrival. It gives life gravity without demanding a neat, tidy resolution.
Which is such a powerful place to end. Because this whole thing, the gravity, the nearness, it's all built on finitude, on limits, on endings. So if that almost closed circle is what provides all the meaning we need, what quiet responsibilities come from knowing that our own life is already being held as a whole.
Mm.
What does it mean for you to live carrying the weight of a shape that is already forming? Something to keep with you long after this deep dive is complete.